and this was the result. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Mariette, also known as Die Boervrou. This is the Crafty Stitches Podcast, episode 94, and it is currently July 2026, and I'm coming to you from South Africa. So I mainly show knitting projects on this podcast episodes, but today I have knitting and sewing projects to share with you. And I am trying to be a little bit better at Ravelry, so I will link all of my knitting project pages down below for you so that you can check out those if you are maybe interested in the needle size or the yarn, or if I forgot to say something about the project. So all of the links of all of the places where you can find me on the internet will be down below in the description box of this video. And I think we can get started with this episode by talking a little bit about what I am wearing. So today I'm wearing two knitted projects, both designed by me. So this sweater is the Fairy Lily sweater that I designed in sock yarn. So it's made with 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon wool. Actually this project as well. And this is the Fairy Lily Cowl. So the Fairy Lily sweater and the Fairy Lily Cowl, both projects designed by me, and that is what I'm wearing today because it is a little bit colder today. It is still winter and I needed everything that I can put on today to keep me warm. Right, so let's start with finished projects. I have 4 finished projects. My first finished project is my Rustic Dishcloth that I've been working on since the previous episode. So this is what it looks like. That is actually the back. This is what it looks like. So the Rustic Dishcloth is a pattern designed by me. It is beginner friendly and starts with a long tail cast on at the bottom, and you knit a garter stitch border around the project as you go with this double moss stitch in the middle, just to give it a little bit of a texture so that it washes the dirt off the dishes more easily. So I made this one with different yarn and different needle sizes than recommended in the pattern. I used Moya 100% double knit cotton yarn in the burnt fudge colorway, and I used a 3.75mm needle for this project. I started it on the 17th of June and finished it on the 29th of June. And I also changed the bind off at the top from what is recommended in the pattern. I used the easy stretchy bind off that I have a tutorial for on the channel, and I just felt like doing that instead of the normal lifted bind off. And then I used 19 grams of yarn for this project, and it measures 19 by 18 centimeters. And that is basically everything for the first project. So now I can take this to my kitchen and use it. Right, so my second project for this episode is a finished sewing project. So in the previous episode I showed the fabric and the basket that I want to make a liner for, and I actually finished that. So this is what it looks like. Has a little elastic, and I think it came out great. Alright, so let me talk a little bit about the construction of this. So I just made a circle for the bottom. So I made the rectangles, I gathered the fabric with very big stitches and then sewed it to the bottom. So I gathered the fabric until it fit on the circle, and then I stitched that together. I also used my overlocker after I finished stitching that to finish off the raw edges, and then I added a seam and a little elastic inside it just to keep it secure around the basket. So I'm very happy with this one, and I'm looking forward to sewing more basket liners for my baskets. Right, so I started making the basket liner on the 24th of June, and I finished it on the 30th of June 2026. Right, my second finished project is also a sewing project, but I cannot bring it to show, so I will just insert some pictures and footage here of it while I talk about it. So I used an old curtain which I just cut in half and made two curtains from this one curtain to hang up on the sides, two sides of my big table here in the sewing room. And I just used this elastic, it's not really elastic, but it is like a stretchable cord where you screw in like eyelet screws on the sides, and then you can hang it up and it stretches to keep the curtain up. It's just for a little bit of aesthetics, and I really like the fabric. The curtains was actually had a hole in it, so I had to mend it, but because the curtain is a little bit of a busy print, you don't really see that at all. Alright, so I'm not sure if it is a table curtain or a table skirt, whatever you would call it. I think it looks pretty and I like it a lot. Now my fourth and final finished project for this episode is actually a brand new pattern design, and I'm super excited about this one. I wanted to make a striped dishcloth, and after I made the rustic dishcloth, I thought it would be so much fun to make stripes. And I was sitting down with the yarn and I already cast on, and then I don't know, it just happened. I wanted some stripes, and before I knew it, I had some texture going with it, and this was the result of that. It looks so good. So this is the Rhythmic Stripes Dishcloth. It is all made with Moya 100% cotton double knit yarn. So this is the burnt fudge, this pink is called bubblegum, the green is called apple, and this purple is called amethyst. So as you can see, I just repeated the colors twice, and I followed it in this color sequence, and I think it will also look very nice if you use the color sequence just the same as this and then do pink, green, purple as well. That could be a lot of fun. And two of these stripes have different texture, so it is two different stripe textures in this pattern, and I just love it so much. I've started it the 27th of June and I finished it on the 28th of June. So yes, it is one of those things where you just want to knit to see the next stripe, and you want to knit to see the next stripe, and before you know it, the whole dishcloth is done. Alright, so this pattern is already out and available on Ravelry and in my online shop. I will leave those links in the description box below this video for you if you are interested. I also used a 3.75mm needle for this project, and all of the details of this pattern is on the Ravelry project page, how much yarn you would need and all of that. So I'm looking forward to see some Rhythmic Stripes dishcloths in some other colors on the internet. That will be so much fun. Alright, let's move over to works in progress. Now, as I said, I enjoyed working this Rhythmic Stripes dishcloth so much that I actually started a second one. And this time I am using only 2 colors for it. I am using the Burnt Fudge and Bubblegum. And this is what I have so far. It is looking so good. Oh my goodness, just look at that. So pretty. I love it. All right, so this is just over halfway done. And yeah, I'm really in love with this pattern. I'm really enjoying it a lot. And I think it looks very good in only 2 colors as well. Nice and stripy. I've already weaved in most of the ends, except for the last color change that I did here. And after I wash and block it, I will just snip off those ends nearer to the project. Loving how this is coming together. Really, really love it a lot. And I'm already thinking about making another one in a different stripe sequence, just because I can. They're really a lot of fun to knit. All right. So the second work in progress that I would like to share is my Brioche Memories blanket with its pretty basket that will no longer snag the fabric. Very happy about that. Okay, so this is my Brioche Memories blanket. It is a brioche mitered square blanket, and I am using sock yarns for my Brioche Memories blanket, 75% wool, 25% nylon and or polyamide. And I am currently working on squaring off the blanket, even though it's not going to be a square, it's going to be a rectangle, but then I would like to work in rows from there on out. Now, since my previous episode, I still needed 30 squares. Is it 30 or 40? I think it was 40 squares, to be honest. It was definitely 40 squares. And since then, I have added 7 squares. It was almost 8, but then I made a mistake and I ripped back the 8th one, and I decided I'll record this podcast first and then I'll start on that one again. Let me show you what it looks like for now. Okay, so since the previous episode, I have added these 4 squares and these 3. This one, and this one. So I was working on adding another square at the bottom, but it will be my first one of the specific squares for this project. And the thing that I did not like was you pick up stitches from this square and then all the way around here, and then you do the mitered square in here. But what happens is, because this is my last square of the row, this one has a little I-cord, and when I picked up these stitches, I picked up my last stitch for my new I-cord inside the corner of the square here, as I would do for all of the others, and that does not look very good. And I've decided that I want to pick up my last stitch from my I-cord stitches, so that the I-cord can flow from the one to the second one, because I just had this hanging here with this I-cord corner, and it didn't look good. It really did not look very good. So I decided to rip that back and try again, and then I might try and work this tail into this side and not up as suggested in the pattern, because my next square is going to be a navy, and this color I can see it if I try and hide it in the I-cord. So I'm gonna try those two modifications. I'm not sure exactly what the pattern says. Maybe it even says remember to pick up in the I-cord. I maybe didn't read that properly, but I need to pick up the stitch from my I-cord stitch and not just the corner stitch. So when I do that next time, I will show you what I mean. But for now, I have 7 more squares done. So that means I still need 33 to get this one squared off, so that I can wash and block it, snip off all of these little bitty ends, and then start working in rows. I am so excited about that. And this blanket is actually the perfect size to now lay on my lap and keep me warm if I put it in its width as a length, and I really like that a lot as well. So for this project I am using 3.5mm needles, and I have been working on this for quite a while, and I don't see it being finished very soon because I want to make like a 3/4 bed size of this blanket. And I only use yarns that I've used in other projects before, so that might take me a while. But anyway, luckily this is one of those projects where you actually want it to end, but you also don't want it to end because it's such an enjoyable knit, and I think I'm going to still love this blanket for quite a while on my needles, and then I will love it over my body when it's actually finished. Alright, so then my third work in progress for this episode is actually a new cast on. This is the old Shale lace dishcloth by Jeanette Stone. She actually gifted this pattern to me a few years ago, and I did knit one of them before. The yarn suggested by the pattern is a cotton bamboo blend, and I think it is like a double knit weight yarn. And I remember when I knitted it, I was mentioning in the podcast that I don't know what type of yarn we would use in South Africa for this, and a viewer of the podcast, Edith, let me know that the Venus Colors Bambi yarn is a double knit yarn with 70% slub cotton, I think, and 30% bamboo viscose. And when she mentioned it, I remembered that I have a ball of this yarn somewhere in my craft room, and I actually found it, and I now caked it up and I started this dishcloth with that yarn. So this is, I don't have the yarn label anymore, but this is what it looks like. And you can see it is a bit uneven. I guess it's because of the cotton slub yarn. So I'm knitting it on the recommended needle size, which is a 4mm needle, and this is what I have so far. So I'm not really that bothered by how big this is, because it's just going to be a dishcloth. And I think if I remember correctly, the pattern says that you would need 20 grams of, I think it's lion or lion's kobu or something, or lion's kobu. So you would need 20 grams of that yarn. So if this is more or less the same, I might get 2 dishcloths out of this ball of yarn, because I have the full ball, and if I put this on the scale it reads 51 grams, so I might have enough for 2. We'll see. But I am enjoying knitting this a lot, and the yarn is so soft. I really like the soft feel of it. So let me just show you that again with the little lace work. Very nice and enjoyable knit. Right, then my last work in progress that I would like to share is another basket liner, but I just started the process. So the only thing that I did is make the little circle pattern piece for the bottom of the liner, and then I will still have to work out the sides, because I cannot just make a piece of fabric from the liner over the side, because the handles of this is wider than you would expect for a basket. Usually they look like this. So I will have to make a seam maybe here with some ties to get the fabric around this opening around the basket handles. So there will have to be a long opening here. I also want to crochet a tape lace for this basket liner. So instead of a sewn frill like this, I want to make a crochet one for it. I've not decided on the fabric yet. As I said, the only thing that I did is I made that little circle piece, and it is still stewing in my mind how I'm going to do this part. But I think I have a plan. So in the next episode, hopefully there will be something that I can show you. And for this one, I definitely want to add pockets. And I've seen that the other basket liner, the pockets are actually sewn into this bottom seam with a little bit of an elastic on the sides. So I might do something similar for this one. I'm looking forward to it. So yes, that is my next plan for my next basket. Also, I want to make a liner for this little basket, and I asked my husband to help me think of what we can do to keep the basket liner inside the basket, and we also have a plan for that, and he already brought it over. So when I do that one, I will show you exactly what I did, because I cannot do the same as this because it has a lid. So I'm looking forward to that. I have lots of sewing to do, and it'll keep me busy quite a bit. Okay, so that is everything from my projects today. If you're interested in the Rhythmic Stripes Dishcloth, you can grab the pattern now from Ravelry or from my online shop. Both of those links are down below this video in the description box. Let me know in the comments down below what projects you are working on. I love to chat to you about those. I hope that you are doing well wherever you are in the world, and remember to always make time for the real treasures in life. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you soon in the next video. Bye!